Hello, my name is Emily, as you may or may not know, and today we are going to be talking about Gen Z's repackaged bigotry and certain ways that the woke generation, they're a little drowsy. They might be falling asleep at the wheel a little bit. Generally speaking, right, with every passing generation, young people seem to be dedicated to social causes and are able to recognize the faults of the generations before them. Gen Z especially is associated with being socially aware and cognizant and sort of creating this culture of political correctness. Now, obviously, you can't generalize an entire generation, okay, because there is a portion of Gen Z who is conservative, but, that's for a different video. Today, I want to focus on the portion of people who are not trying to be overtly offensive. They are not trying to hurt anyone. They're simply trying to just joke around. And I think that some people feel like looking deeper into certain jokes or trends or elements of pop culture is sort of making mountains out of molehills and, going into liberal snowflake, woke left overdrive, right? And I think some people are like, can't we just have fun? Can't we just have fun? Oh my God. But here's the thing. I don't think that, can't we hold space for both? Can't we hold space for both? Is my question. I don't think it's a bad thing to think about why certain things might be popular and the context behind it all, It's not supposed to be a personal attack on anyone who has ever participated in these jokes or trends. It's just an observation. So with all of that out of the way, a huge part of social media is comedy, right? I think comedy creators are some of the most successful people to come out of this industry and such. Everyone wants to have a laugh. Everyone wants to have a giggle. Everything is a joke. It's all jokes. And if you don't laugh, then you're the friend that's too woke. Dr. Seuss. And I am gonna make a video at some point on, sort of wokeness overdrive 3000, where it's like, I think the pendulum can swing too far in either direction, right? But I think we should be able to hold a balance, right, between recognizing when something is lighthearted and also maybe being a reflection of negative mindsets, and also kind of having a cognizance of when something is not for you. And this is not all to say that we should not be able to have a laugh still, okay? Sometimes a giggle or a guffaw is what we all desperately need. It's one of the top trending coping mechanisms, and it's not going away anytime soon. Like how I joke about getting kicked off my parents' health insurance soon and having to shell out over $800 every month now for just in case. Oh God. Oh my God. Keeping track of all of your expenses is so difficult. But good thing we have today's sponsor, Rocket Money, to help. Rocket Money is the personal finance app to help you cancel subscriptions, lower your bills, and manage your money better. Adulting can be scary, but at least you can have a little personal finance helper that fits right in your pocket. Rocket Money has helped me cancel any unwanted subscriptions because trust and believe they do build up. It's very easy to lose track of just all the things that you sign up for, and then all of a sudden you're seeing a surprise charge for something that you haven't used in 8 months. Rocket Money safely and securely identifies recurring charges and can cancel any unwanted subscriptions for you with just a few taps in the app, so you can skip the customer service calls. I'm using Rocket Money to help me with budgeting. They can create a custom budget plan for you and your lifestyle, and you're able to monitor all of your spending habits by category, and you get notified if you exceed your limits. It's like the $8 matcha with too much milk in it is the devil on your shoulder, and then Rocket Money is the angel being like, babe, not today. Rocket Money has helped save its customers up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features, with over 500 million in canceled subscriptions. So to save more and spend less, be sure to join the other 5 million members of Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/notevenemily or click the link in the description to get started for free. And don't forget, you can unlock even more amazing features with premium. So again, for the people, that is rocketmoney.com/notevenemily to get started for free. And thank you so much to Rocket Money, today's sponsor. All right, but anyways, before we get to today's generation and the sort of jokes and trends that have been popularized in the current culture, I want to talk about other examples of how bigotry and derogatory terms have evolved in the past. When a term is deemed too outdated or offensive to verbalize, society always seems to find a way to say the silent part out loud. And this is just a part of language, right? This is not specific to any one generation. You know, for every slur there is another word that serves as its neutral counterpart. Obviously, I'm not going to go down the list, right? I think some other YouTubers have that covered if, you know, they're not too busy texting minors. But between the neutral and extremely offensive, there are other words or phrases that you can say to discriminate, demean, or insult that are more socially acceptable than, you know, the utmost off-limits word to say. I am saying this as an observation, not as a how-to guide. Because, well, let's face it, if there was only one singular derogatory term for each minority group that was just completely off limits to say, and there were no other words to convey, you know, that sort of same contempt, people would just make them up. They would make up more words to discriminate because, well, discrimination is one of the glow's favorite pastimes. For example, the N-word should not be coming out of anyone's non-black mouth. Not that that necessarily has stopped people in the past, but we all are aware of this. We all know this, right? So when someone still wants to discriminate, though, in a way that is more socially acceptable, they might use other words, right? Like, for example, thug, or for example, black, plural. Another example would be is how the word bitch is considered a derogatory term when a man uses it against a woman, right? And we are all aware of this. But then now the word females is beginning to take its place. You know, now men, because they can't really say bitches, I mean, they can and they will continue to do so, but because it is kind of looked down upon, right? They don't, if they can't say bitches, if they feel they can't say that, they'll say females with the same amount of, you know, being condescending and insulting and demeaning. Language is interesting because, you know, you have these words that have a sort of initial negative connotation because that's the way they were intended to be used upon creation, more or less. And then you have these other words where they were neutral. They were neutral words that just developed a negative connotation because of people's need to sort of convey the same point as the original offensive term. So it's like, yeah, you technically aren't saying any slurs or, you know, overtly derogatory terms, but you're kind of just using another word to take its place for the time being. Circle of life.
Here in her natural habitat, we see a
What?
But as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, we finally put the word to rest.
Hello?
But soon enough, the Oriental was born.
No, you're not supposed to say that either.
Well, it can't be that bad because we didn't have to bleep it.
Okay, well, you're still not supposed to say it. It's outdated.
Well, when it comes to language, the circle of life goes faster than you think. Let's just say it Chinese.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's fine. It's a neutral term.
And if we all say it with enough disgust and malice, it might not be anymore, though. I mean, they already aren't America's favorite. The circle of life.
Now, again, I want to specify that this is not something specific to Gen Z, right? I just think that it's interesting to see this type of behavior repeat itself in Gen Z, especially when we are known for being the more socially aware, woke, politically correct generation. There are multiple examples we can see of this on, surprise, surprise, TikTok. TikTok. Why did I say it like that? TikTok. That showcase this cycle of sort of just creating demeaning terms. The word bop has sort of become the new slut, right? And yeah, I mean, back in my day, you know, we weren't calling people bops. We were just calling them whores. But, you know, times are changing. Times are changing, you've got to keep up.
Is no different than like the 100 other words that's constantly used against women for, I don't know, living. It's used against people who have dated multiple people. Apparently, if you've done that, you're a bop.
I feel like no matter what I wear, you're gonna still call me a bop, no matter what I do.
If you don't know what a bop is, go do your research. And that girl that you're with right now that you think she's special, you think she's the right one, I hate to break it to you, but she's not.
And I briefly mentioned this in one of my past videos, actually, but on TikTok, there was a moment there where people were calling others acoustic instead of autistic, right? And even that had a very short life cycle because people were like, this is a little bit messed up. You know, obviously it doesn't have the same oomph as like the R word, right? And when I say oomph, I don't mean that in a good way, not a good oomph. But honestly, people have been itching to say the R word too. It's like, hello? I'm like, why are people suddenly, like, apparently the R word is coming back into style like low-rise jeans. And I'm only on board with one of those things. The jeans. The jeans, to be clear. Another thing that I've seen are people leaving longer comments and just sort of capitalizing certain letters within the comment to spell out a slur. Like, I guess I'll give you credit for not just overtly typing it, but also it doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to crack the case as to what you're actually trying to say. So for example, there might be a comment that's like, oh, he's so ferocious and graceful. Or, you know, he has such a twinkle in his eye, but then they only capitalize the twink part. And then, you know, even talking about the word twink, I think that even just now as I'm saying it, I think I'm allowed to say it. And when I do say it, I'm not saying it with any contempt. I'm just saying it, you know, within the context of. But even the word twink, when it's said, you know, and when it comes out of someone's mouth who they are not part of the LGBT community, and depending on the context, it definitely sounds derogatory. I forget which influencer it was. It was somebody on the internet, and they were like a big straight white man, I think. Or I think they were, I don't know. They were a big straight man. And when he said twink, I was like, oh, why that got a little twang to it? I don't know. I was kind of like, why does it sounds like you're using it in an insulting way. Where it's obviously it's not the F slur, but it might be some sort of diet version. And, you know, as I've mentioned before, females replacing bitches has been very interesting to witness. And I think a lot of people, you know, they don't really see any problem with speaking like this because number one, you know, the anonymity of the internet definitely helps. And then also a lot of the terms are neutral, you know, or they have been neutral for a very, very long time. So it's like, well, why can't I say this normal word? And while a lot of these words were neutral, right, repetitively using them in a demeaning way is going to associate it with being demeaned. And it's funny because I think our generation talks a lot about how, you know, the older generations, our grandparents or even our parents, right, say things that are super just outdated and not very PC, you know, things that make the hair on the back of your neck stand up at Thanksgiving. And, you know, not to defend saying completely outrageous things or to defend being bigoted, but it is also true that for some of the things that we deem offensive back then, for them, it was like just the way they talked. It's not to say that it's right, but it is true. So we're all susceptible to this regardless of age, right? I mean, obviously, I think our generation does a much better job at sort of clocking ourselves, clocking our own tea, if you will, and being able to correct ourselves and look inward, right? And of course, a lot of these things are just fads or online trends that are gonna go away. I mean, acoustic has already died. At least in my eyes, they're 6 feet under, right? And, you know, I kind of doubt that we're all going to be rocking back and forth in our nursing homes, you know, crocheting, talking about, oh yeah, I knew Lorelai back in my day. She was quite the bop, you know? I don't think that's going to happen. But I do wonder if any of these will stick, or what terms that we deem neutral right now in the future are going to be, you know, outdated and not okay to say. So, how's my favorite nephew and my favorite non-binary, you know, you are the child of my sister as well. Wow, the English language really is gendered, huh? I'm fine, thanks. Oh, are you still working at that coffee shop? My little they-them barista. Whoa. Ooh. Yo, and Amanda, that's not... Yeah, that's actually super fucked up, what you just said to me. Oh,
Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I just, back in my day, it was just a joke.
That is a really vicious and harmful stereotype.
Well, I got fired from the coffee shop anyway, so. Okay.
Anyways, I wanted to introduce you to my girlfriend.
Yes, please do that.
Babe, come in.
Wait, she's a robot?
Hey! Whoa, excuse
What
me?
did you just call her? What? Is she
Hey,
not?
the correct term is person of automated descent. POAD.
POAD. I mean, really?
Wow. Wow. Okay, the fuck?
Does the copyrighted transparent background follow her around everywhere she goes, or is that just an accessory, or?
Baby, I am so sorry, okay?
Low battery.
Great, look at what you did.
I thought you were supposed to be the cool lesbian aunt.
And because Gen Z does strive to be more politically correct, a part of this repackaging, right, when commenting about another community or group of people is maintaining some semblance of punching up. In other words, using intersectionality as a way to make what you're saying more palatable or even funny, right? It's more socially acceptable to make fun of people who are in privileged groups. Because sometimes, listen, at the end of the day, yes, you are a woman, but you are also white. Or yes, you are gay, but you are also a cis male. Or yes, you are a person of color, but you're also a multimillionaire. And this is not to dismiss or minimize anybody's struggles, right? But it is true that you can hold privilege as someone who is also a part of an oppressed minority group. I know some people get really defensive hearing that. But it is true. Sorry. It applies to me as well. And I check off quite a few boxes. I'm a woman, I am a racial minority in America, and I am LGBT, right? But I still hold privilege in the way I'm straight passing, which is privilege in a way. Like, I don't think someone is going to hate crime me off the fact of me being lesbian, maybe the Asian part, but not the lesbian part, because I am not serving in that way. I'm not serving in a way in which they would be able to clock my tea, right? And also, I think I'm neurotypical. I know sometimes people in the comments don't agree, but I genuinely do think I'm neurotypical, and I'm not gonna be like, well, I think I have ADHD because sometimes I talk fast and I skip around topics sometimes. No, I don't think that. I think I'm neurotypical. Sorry if that makes me less interesting. And if someone were to make fun of neurotypical people, I wouldn't be offended. What I will say is that I observe this happens the most in regards to caucasity, right? The caucasity of it all. Because people feel more comfortable making fun of women as long as you mention their whiteness. Or making fun of LGBT people as long as you mention their whiteness. Yo, what is up, motherfuckers? How we feeling tonight? Yeah, for sure. So the other day I was standing behind a group of girls, and they were saying that they were on their way to a protest to advocate for collective action in the community for their rights. Sounds fucking fake, right? In my head I was like, shouldn't you guys be at a Taylor Swift concert making sure Forever 21 doesn't go out of business? They were white, by the way. Yeah. Alright, thank you! And listen, I'm just saying it as it is, okay? Ragging on men, white people, rich people, etc., it is just more socially acceptable, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. Sorry, some of you might hate to hear that, but I mean, if you're a viewer of my videos, you would know that I've certainly done it. Because let's face it, when it comes to white supremacy, the patriarchy, certain religions, classism, right? These are all things that have affected minority groups in such a widespread way and continues to affect us to this day that it's like, yeah, I think we should be able to tell a joke or two. And I think many people in these privileged groups would agree, right? There's many men who, when women say, I hate men, right? There's many of them that are like, no, yeah, I get that. They don't take it as a personal attack. Or when someone says, I hate white people, right? There's a lot, my roommate is white, And whenever I've had a grievance, you know, and I'm discussing my grievance about white people, and maybe I tell a certain joke, first of all, she laughs. And she's also like, no, I get you. Like, I get that. So while I think there's room in comedy to sort of, you know, point out the behaviors of these privileged groups, I also think that this has been used as a way to be homophobic, misogynistic, you know, the works, baby. Due to intersectionality, right? Depending on who I am, if I make a joke about women, that's punching down. But if I make a joke about a white person, that's punching up. So if I combine those two things together, it's like I'm just throwing a straight punch. And with that being said, people have been noticing that men are feeling a bit more comfortable making fun of women as long as they can tack on white at the front of it. Or, you know, I've heard people tack on white in front of twink to say something that is basically just homophobic, or, you know, trying to justify homophobia because, you know, at the end of the day, a gay man is still just a man, which is, you know, can be definitely valid because that is true. But yeah, the waters are getting murky. The waters are getting murky. Sorry, my camera died, so I had to change the angle a little to plug it in. Sorry if that was jarring. But hey, listen, at the end of the day, people don't like being told what they can or can't say. Okay, and they're gonna do whatever they want, and they have every right to do that, even if I don't, you know, agree with it, right? And even the most sexist, transphobic, homophobic, misogynistic people still have their audience, right? But even outside of the overtly offensive, I think it's interesting to see how we have sort of taken intersectionality and used it as a new method of sort of treading the line. And it's interesting seeing public perception as to when it works and when it doesn't, right? And I think Gen Z has had a very large influence on how we talk about ourselves and our communities as well as other groups of people. And it's just, you know, now we kind of have to do this social optics math to, you know, determine whether we think it would be appropriate to make a joke or make a comment about someone who is in a group other than our own. Have you ever been in this situation?
Ugh, I want to make an observational joke, but I don't know if it's going to be offensive or not.
It can be hard to determine whether or not your joke is going to land when you're venturing outside of your community.
But luckily for you, we have our new social optics calculator, specifically made to help you navigate the line between edgy humor and just plain cancelable. So, what is it that you wanted to say publicly?
Oh, thank God you're here! All of my gay best friends have been telling me about the terrible relationships that they're in and the problems within the community, like an emphasis on hookup culture and being superficial about looks. So, in solidarity, I wanted to tweet, the gay dating scene seems so bad that if the US government wanted to make gay marriage illegal again, they should hurry up.
And you are...
Straight, but a woman of color with many gay friends.
All right, well, let's use the calculator. No. Yeah. No, it's leaning towards no.
What if I say I'm bi?
What if you say you're bi?
Yeah, I know a lot of people that do that. Let me name them.
No, you don't have to do that. Buy the social optics calculator today. Honestly, I think you're gonna need this.
Another thing is that we have made so much progress socially that people might feel more comfortable making jokes about, you know, oppressed minority groups because we feel far removed from our initial struggles since things have objectively gotten better. You know, we had a black president. You know, gay marriage is legal for now, and, you know, women are multi-millionaires and CEOs. We're so much better off now, so we should be able to loosen the reins a little bit, don't you think? And yeah, you know, I think within each group, we've become a lot more comfortable making jokes openly, making observations openly, because maybe we do feel, you know, a sort of disconnect from our initial hardships and struggles. You know, I even see minority groups joke about those, you know, hardships and struggles. Or, you know, when women say that thing of like, oh, like, why did we have to have women's suffrage and now I have to clock in for my 9 to 5? And while I think making jokes about our own communities and making fun of ourselves is fine and, well, you know, ultimately sometimes funny, right? I think doing so very comfortably and openly also makes other people feel comfortable to chime in.
She told me that her and her ex are broken up, but they still live together and sleep in the same bed and have sex with each other in a platonic way. God, I hate lesbians. Oh my God, yeah. Lesbians are fucking crazy.
For example, you know, the types of comments that I was talking about earlier, where someone would say something like, oh, he's so fearless and grand for drinking dairy milk. I first noticed this on a TikTok account, Grant and Ash, aka Twink and a Redhead, where they sort of have this ongoing joke where they're a heterosexual couple where the dude is like obviously quite gay. They're so funny. They're really funny. If you guys need to add a lesbian into your friendship, why can we all be a polycule? A polycule with a gay man, a lesbian, and a straight woman. Well, I don't know if she's straight. I think she is.
Speaking of homophobia, I wanted to publicly address our comments that we get on our posts, because when they first started, they were funny, and they were from like the LGBTQ community. Like, I would click on their profiles. For those who don't know, people comment acronyms on our like boyfriend girlfriend videos. We kind of ask for it, obviously, because like it's a bit where she's a delusional girlfriend to a clearly gay man. It was funny at first. I guess it is kind of sort of funny still. I don't know, but then some bitches named Kate or Brittany, these white girls, started doing it, and I'm like, girl, people get a little too comfortable.
I'm not posting those acronyms. That's not for me to post.
No.
But because their audience is supposed to be in on the joke, right? I think people feel comfortable to say offensive things in a joking way because the whole thing, like, we're all just kidding here, guys. But then, you know, it does get to a certain point where it's like, okay, so are you also LGBT, or you're just calling me a slur subliminally? I think when people feel like they have a proximity to a certain group, they feel more comfortable to make jokes, even say slurs, right? And this is not something new to Gen Z, right? For example, there's been a long history of, you know, Latinos feeling like they can say the N-word because of their proximity to blackness or black culture. Gay men feel more comfortable than straight men using the word bitch because, ooh, even when I just said it right there, I had a little twang, saying the word bitch because of their proximity to femininity. Women sometimes feel comfortable saying the F slur because of their proximity to, you know, if they have a lot of gay friends or something like that. I knew a woman who, she had like a lot of gay friends, right? And we were walking somewhere. I was like walking kind of ahead of her. And she met this gay couple on the street, just like randomly. And, you know, they were talking, having a key, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I hear her loudly say the F slur. It was so loud. It was like, baby, at that point, get on the intercom. Because what? And I turned around and I was like, what? And then she literally did the thing was like, oh, it's okay, I have the pass because like I have, all my friends are gay and like da 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 da. And the gay couple, they didn't look offended in the moment, but I could definitely have seen it being one of those things where, you know, after they separate ways, they're like, can we talk about that? Obviously, everything depends on context, but I think different minority groups joking around with each other, even reclaiming slurs or reclaiming derogatory terms, sometimes I think taking that power back can be, I don't know, like I don't have a problem with it at all. Like, I think taking back the word cunt, like, I love that. So I don't think it's on us to be less, you know, loud or less open about our observations, which then can, you know, turn into comedy or whatever. I think it's on other groups to just like know when to stay in their lane, which for the most part I think people do. But I think with the influence of the internet and social media, which is such a huge integral part to Gen Z, it's given a new avenue for people to feel this proximity to these groups, or perceived proximity, I should say. And they might feel more comfortable to want to join in on a joke, or, you know, maybe just say things that they really should not be saying.
Wait, did you see this TikTok? Asians be like, boba. Dude, that's so true. I know, right? I do that all the time. For sure. Yeah, for sure.
That awkward moment when your mom hits you with the rice paddle because you didn't finish drinking your soy sauce with sesame seed sprinkles.
What?
That was another TikTok that I saw. Did you guys see it?
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Are you Asian or something?
Yep, I'm 1/14th Asian.
So you're white.
Well, no. I understand all of your guys' jokes and I feel really connected. You know, plus I'm really into K-pop, so I know a lot about Korean culture.
We're not. I'm Chinese. I'm Vietnamese. So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and yeah, just remember to, and I think we all do for the most part, you know, keeping ourselves in check, feeling open to educating ourselves always and wanting to do better, and just because maybe certain things might feel like making a mountain out of molehills. I know sometimes I see things and I feel like that, but I also think it's good to always just take a step back and just be like, I wonder why this is, or, you know, it's interesting to me to think about that sometimes. But now I'm just rambling. But okay, yes, I'm ending it now. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed today's video.
Low battery. The fact that this is my job